Poke Mowbray used to leave his office door wide open so I could hear and see all that went on therein. One morning I heard a familiar sort of row going on, and I knew that the blow had fallen at last. Poke Mowbray was hysterical. "I adjure you by the bones of Cromer," he was yelling, "to answer me without prevarication. Have you been putting garlic in the food without telling anyone? Did you, wittingly or unwittingly, plug that cassoulet, impregnate that lustreless salad, order the peas to be lightly simmered in the stuff before serving? Answer me at once, or in heaven's name I'll—" De Mandeville made a gobbling, self-deprecating sort of sound and spread his manicured hands as he muttered something about garlic being eaten in all the best London houses. It toned up the nervous system. Some said it was the only specific for scabies. One would have to be very retrograde to imagine, and so on, in this style. Veins were throbbing all over poor Poke Mowbray by this time. "Do not try to justify yourself," he thundered. "Answer me with a simple yea or nay, and take that beastly sensual smile off your face. If you choose to dine on heads of raw garlic with your scabrous chauffeur, it is your business. But the embassy table is sacred, do you hear? Sacred. If you do not answer me truthfully, I shall make you the subject of a general paper to the Foreign Secretary." There was a short silence, during which they glared at each other. Then de Mandeville threw back his chin and uttered the word, "Yes," rather defiantly. He was wearing an obstinate Canine Defence League expression on his face. Poke Mowbray levitated briefly and banged his hand on the desk with a triumphant, "Aha! So you did!" It was clear that de Mandeville was in for one of those searching reproofs. His chief now began to walk up and down his own carpet, as he always did when he was moved. He pointed the finger of scorn at de Mandeville in no uncertain fashion. "Wretch!" he cried in a shaking voice. "Could you not see the harm that might come from such reckless and criminal cookery? Moreover, you choose the one lunch party of the year, which is of policy importance, in order to do me the greatest damage. Think of the naval attaché. What has he ever done to merit that unspeakable lunch, at which he ate far too heartily? And my niece, Angela, what of her? And the head of the foreign ministry, what of him?" De Mandeville tried to make a few unavailing protests. "Enough!" cried Poke Mowbray hoarsely. "Surely you know that to feed a naval attaché garlic is like stoking a coke furnace with dead rats. Did you see his face as he lurched out into the afternoon? You did not know, I suppose, that he was due to lecture to the sea-wolves on temperance and self-denial at sea. He created a very poor impression in a very short time. The wretch now fears court-martial. He says that now, whenever his pinnace is sighted, they raise a yellow fever flag and forbid him access to the ship. I do not doubt that the dirk point will be facing him when he walks into the wardroom. All this is on your head and more. Don't interrupt me. That is not all. Do you realize that when I helped the minister into his car, he was making a noise like a Bunsen burner? You would not care that he had to address the High Presidium that afternoon on foreign affairs, moreover, in a language so full of aspirates as to make the gravest demands on his audience. No, you would not care with your pumpkins and pottery and left-handed table arrangements. On you go in your headlong career, weaving these devilish plots around my table. And apart from all this, what about me? You cannot be expected to know that I was booked to read the lesson at a memorial service in the British Baptist Church, which is notoriously cramped and ill-ventilated. How do you think I felt when I saw the first 2 rows of the congregation swaying like ripened wheat in an east wind? How do you think I felt when it came to my turn to embrace the hapless widow? She was breathing as if she had slipped her fan belt. Answer me. You see, you haven't a word to say. You are mum chance as you jolly well ought to be. Fie on you, Aubrey de Mandeville. You did not stop to think what effect Angela might have on Cosgrave after such a lunch. The engagement was pretty tremulous as it was, but you snookered the wretched girl well and truly. And what of the typists' pool? Girls keeling over one after another as they tried to take dictation from us. What of them? For a moment words failed him. His face worked. Then he said in a low, murderous tone from between clenched teeth, "I tell you that from now on there is to be no more garlic. Sage, yes. Thyme, yes. Rosemary, marjoram, dill, cumin, yes. Emphatically, yes. But garlic, no." And so the edict went forth, and the sales of peppermints in the naffy dropped off again. Antrobus sighed sadly over these memories as he replenished our glasses. Then he said musingly, "I should really say that garlic was the biggest single cost a diplomat had to bear in the rough old times. It had to be banned, old man. Yet, in a sense, we were all living a lie, like the Americans under Prohibition, for we all secretly yearned after the stuff. I say this in the strictest confidence. I would not wish to be quoted. Yet it is strange that this noxious bulb should have such an allure for men. As for diplomats, it played havoc with confidential exchanges, and as for dancing with your ambassadress, well, it was the quickest way to get posted. That is why I was so relieved when the age of science dawned. I used to be against science once, and for the humanities, I freely admit it. But when at last chlorophyll came in, I was instantly won over. What a boon and a blessing to dips! What an overriding sense of relief! Many a breach was healed that day between man and man. Even Pope Mowbray, in the end, allowed the salad bowl to be lightly rubbed with a couple of heads before serving. And I don't know whether you noticed the rather respectable little ragout we have just been eating. Not bad for the club, is it? But fear nothing. In my pocket lies a phial full of those little grey tablets which make human intercourse a rational, easy, unbuttoned sort of thing again. No more shrinking from pursed lips in the office. We can hold our heads high once more. Let's drink a final little toast to the goddess of the FO, shall we? I give you chlorophyll.